I decided to go ahead and do NXT Takeover Toronto predictions and kind of see where is NXT going to go from here with some of these rivalries, like Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, Asuka and Mickie James, Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger, the end of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic with the Authors of Pain versus TM61 or 6-1 or wherever the hell they call them. And, of course, the revival against Gargano and Ciampa. So, out of the 5 matches we have here on the Wikipedia page, I figure, okay, we'll start with Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. What's going to happen? Roode and Dillinger, they were tag team for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They went up against Sanity. I think it was Sawyer Fulton and Alexander Wolf. They beat the crap out of Dillinger. Roode never even tried to take off his robe. He left. Dillinger got beat up. They've had a couple of interactions since then, and now they're going to have their match at Toronto. And, well, what's going to happen? I think Bobby Roode's going to come away with the victory. I don't know what they're going to do from there. My guess is Ty will probably try to come up somehow and maybe get some kind of maybe sneak pinfall victory on an NXT show maybe in the next 2-3 weeks, maybe a couple promos before the next rematch, because he'll say, you know, you pulled my tights, you had your feet on the rope, something like that. So they'll have like a no DQ, no count out kind of, you know, match or something like that as a main event for an NXT weekly show on a Wednesday. So that's my guess. Roode will come out on top, and then they'll have a rematch in probably within a month. Just my guess, with a no DQ, no count out. With Asuka and Mickie James. Mickie James, we haven't seen her in a WWE ring in a long time. Okay, maybe not that long, but it's been a while. So Asuka has not been defeated in the year or so she's been here so far. Kind of interesting at this point, because she's almost like, you know, Goldberg when he was in WCW, or Brock, how he's kind of been billed overall, maybe not in every match, but overall, just kind of like an undefeatable force. The Authors of Pain have not taken a loss yet that I'm aware of, and Shinsuke Nakamura has not taken a loss that I know of since he's been there too. So, who's going to win in this one? I don't know if you really want to just give Mickie James, I don't want to just say give, but I don't think you want to let her win. I mean, it is scripted, and give her the title over Asuka, unless you're planning on doing something with one of them at the next draft, because it's just, I don't know if you want to go with the back and forth and like Mickie James wins it this time and then Asuka wins it in the next 2 months as a rematch or something. I don't know how you want to build that. If Mickie James is going to be the heel and Asuka's kind of been the badass the whole time, Salamonster, I heard him say that, you know, maybe after the match, if Asuka wins, she's going to be beating up Mickie James, and all of a sudden Ember Moon's going to come in for the save on Mickie James to beat up Asuka, and then that'll set up the next championship match for Asuka. So that could be that. I think that would be a good idea. But Ember Moon's been kind of tied up right now with, what's the little girl's name? Liv Morgan up against Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. So I don't know if they're going to have her doing 2 different things at the same time or what. I have no idea. I think they are kind of thin on the female talent right now. There is one gal. She's got really curly hair. She's really cute. And I think maybe they could do something with her. And if they can't figure it out, send her my way and I can hang out with her and take her to lunch. So I do think Asuka comes away with the win, and I think maybe Mickie James somehow gets, I don't want to say drafted, because I don't think they're going to wait that long to draft her, but I mean, she's done with TNA. TNA is pretty much a done deal as far as the company anyway, because they suck. So I don't know if you really want to have people who've been on the NXT rosters for over a year or 2, like Sami Zayn and some of those guys were, and have them stay down there for so long. Samoa Joe's been there forever. He needs to be on the main roster now, you know? I think he's not going to win this title back from Shinsuke. I'm kind of giving that the answer away. So he needs to kind of be on the main roster. If they want to do that in the Royal Rumble, then so be it. But with this one, Asuka, Mickie James, Asuka's going to come up with the victory, and I don't know what they're going to do from there, but I think they need to find some more females to kind of come in and help out with that division, because they are lacking, in my opinion, right now in terms of not just talent that's there, but the actual number of people who can compete in the women's division. The third match we have here will be the Authors of Pain Occam and Razor versus TM61, Nick Miller and Shane Thorne at the final of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Last year it was won by Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, and then eventually turned into a rivalry between the two of them. The Authors of Pain, they are going to have Paul Ellering suspended above the ring in a cage, so that way he can't interfere like he did in the last match when the Authors of Pain I think they beat Gargano and Ciampa. One of my favorite moments from that match. There were two favorite moments, actually. One of them was when I think it was it Ciampa or Gargano? One of them kind of went outside and like flew at Occam and Razor, and they caught him. And then the other one saw the opening and they went off the ropes and then tried to jump outside. I think it was Gargano came flying outside, and then they threw Ciampa into Gargano, and it was so cool. Such a cool spot. Never seen it done before. I love new stuff. I love when they just kind of, they remember that, hey, it's tag team wrestling. Let's make it look like tag team wrestling, not just a bunch of individuals trying to get their spots, but tag teams like TM61. If you've seen their stuff in Australia and everywhere else the hell they've been, a lot of tag team actual moves back and forth together. It's really cool. So I like that, what they did with Authors of Pain last time when they wrestled Gargano and Ciampa. So what I think will happen here is I think Authors of Pain are going to walk away with a victory in this one. They're billing them really well. I think they want them to eventually have the NXT Tag Team Championship. And I think Gargano and Ciampa are going to win the championship from the Revival and in the 2 out of 3 falls match. And this is why I kind of have the answer for both of them right now, because after Authors of Pain win this, their next thing after because they already beat up American Alpha before American Alpha got drafted, right? American Alpha lost their championships to the Revival, so the Revival's the first, 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. American Alpha went up to SmackDown. Authors of Pain running rampant through the NXT rosters and tag teams and stuff like that. They've not taken a loss as far as I know, and so after they win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, they're going to have to fight somebody to get to that championship. They've kind of done everything they need to do at this point, unless they're going to go up against Sanity, who just took their first loss, who've only been around for a few weeks or something like that. So they're going to walk away with a victory here. I think Ellering's going to be, he's going to have something in his hands. He's going to do something. He's either going to get out of the shark cage somehow. The referee's not going to notice. I don't know. Some kind of, dusty finish, I guess that's what they call them. Or he's going to have something in his hand and he's going to drop it and give it to Occam or Razor, and they're going to use it and they're going to win. And they're going to beat TM61 by cheating, which they really shouldn't need to, because they're so damn big and powerful that if they have to be that big and powerful and cheat to win, kind of makes them look weak. I know TM61's a pretty damn good team, but this is not a team that's held the NXT Tag Team Championships 2 or 3 or 4 times. This is a team who's still trying to come up in the last, 6 months or so. I don't know how long they've been there, probably a little bit longer than that, but you get my point. You don't want to have a strong team having to cheat to win. It makes them look weak. Or it could make the TM61 look big, or really good, but considering how small these guys are, I don't mean small as in short, but I mean small as in like skinny. Like they look like Gargano and Ciampa in terms of their size. But that's probably what's going to happen. Is, he's going to have some kind of weapon in his hand. He's going to drop it to Occam and Razor. They're going to use it on TM61 and then have the pin, or it's going to hit them with the foreign object and then leading to the finish, whatever it's called, End of Days. No, it's not called that. It's called something else. But yeah, and then they'll have the win, and then they'll win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And then we'll have the Revival, Dash Wilder, and Scott Dawson as the champions, going up against DIY, Do-It-Yourself, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Like I said before, the Revival will not walk away the champions in this one. Gargano and Ciampa. By the way, this will probably be a 4.2 star match. That's my guess. This will probably be the second or first best match on the card, next to or behind or in front of Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura, who've had 2 really good matches so far. And this is a 2 out of 3 falls match, so there's a lot of things that can happen. This is going to be probably a 25 to 30 minute match. And I have this feeling Gargano and Ciampa are going to walk away with the victory. And as they walk away with the victory, maybe they're going to get attacked by the Authors of Pain, and that'll set it up for the next, NXT Takeover show, whenever that's going to be. I'm assuming in January or in April. I'm not really sure. I don't know. They'll do something, right? because the Authors of Pain are going to be like, no, this is our night. You don't want to, we're taking away your thunder for the night. And then just going to, I don't know, wrestle for the rest of their lives. I don't know how that's going to happen, but they're going to eventually have a match, and Occam and Razor, Authors of Pain, will end up being the NXT Tag Team Champions within the next 4 months. So what is this, November? So I would say by NXT TakeOver, wherever WrestleMania is going to be this year. Is that going to be, I don't even know where the hell it's going to be, but wherever it is, it's going to be in Florida. It's going to be in Orlando. Hello. So yeah, NXT TakeOver Orlando, Authors of Pain. By then, we'll probably have the NXT Tag Team Championship. And then we get into our finale. Shinsuke Nakamura as the champion, Samoa Joe as the challenger. As we know, Shinsuke Nakamura had gone undefeated, defeated Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship, and then in the rematch, Joe lost again, and now it's like the third one, Shinsuke versus Samoa, Part 3. Shinsuke's going to walk away the victor in this one. He's on a tear. He tore it up with the security guards and beat them up so he could get to Joe and just keep fighting. And I know Joe, I don't know if this was kayfabe or if this was real, but Shinsuke gave him a Kinshasa, or as Corey Graves would say, Kinshasa. And I think he actually broke his jaw or did something to his jaw for real. So he was out for a little bit. So I kind of have that feeling that something is going to. Well, Joe's not gonna walk away with the victory. Joe's gonna walk away the loser in this one. And I don't know what's gonna happen to his character. I think at this point, you probably maybe want to have him do a couple of, house shows and stuff like that for the time being, kind of take him off TV, maybe have him appear here or there, or maybe just kind of like a blank warning, or I don't know, something. Maybe he says something about change. There has to be a change. I need a change. Just, things are always the same. We need to change. Then all of a sudden you'll see him in the Royal Rumble, in January, which is really just 2 months away, really. I mean, we're about 2 months away from the Royal Rumble. So in 8 weeks to 9 weeks, you could see Samoa Joe in the Royal Rumble, and I think that would be a very, very smart thing because there's not much else this guy can do in NXT. And I think Shinsuke's next opponent eventually will be Bobby Roode or will be Austin Aries when he recovers from his eye injury. I can't think of whoever else is on NXT in that roster right now, unless they're going to have one of the cruiserweights like Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann. I almost said Rich Homie Kwan. I don't even listen to that guy. Or any of the other cruiserweights, whether it's Grand Metalik or anybody. I know they got the 205 Live coming in like a week or something like that, so that'll be interesting to see if they're going to end up being on like 3 or 4 different shows. These cruiserweights, they're kind of bouncing all over, but either way, Shinsuke's going to walk away with the victory. I think Joe will end up in the Royal Rumble in January, and Shinsuke will have to face some other challenger in the meantime to continue his hot streak, and eventually will drop his title. I don't know how. He might, I would say, a good way to build Shinsuke before. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, check it out. I just thought of it as I'm talking about it. A good way to build Shinsuke before he goes to a main roster spot next year, which will probably end up being, because AJ Styles is on SmackDown, it would be SmackDown, because you probably want to have the two of them wrestling again, just like Wrestle Kingdom 10 back in January. So, Shinsuke, before the draft, sometime, if he's still champion between now and the draft, whenever that is, June, July, I forget when they did it this year, he will just drop the title. He'll say, you know what, I've defeated everybody here. There's nothing left for me. I'm done. And he'll drop the title, leave it in the middle of the ring, and he'll walk off. And the next time you see him will be 2 to 3 weeks later in SmackDown or Raw, whichever team he get, or whatever brand he gets drafted to, and he will move on from there, and he will be on the main roster. And NXT will have to then have some matches. You might have Gargano and Ciampa. I think the Revival won't be there anymore. You might still have Ty Dillinger down there because I think he's getting bigger in terms of his popularity. I don't know what's going to happen with any other TNA guys or ROH guys. I know Noam Dar is down in... I'm sorry, he's not down. He was on Raw a couple weeks ago, wasn't he? Yeah, he was on Raw or SmackDown in Scotland. I can't remember what the hell it was. Either way, Noam Dar, somebody, one of these younger guys, one of these guys, maybe the cruiserweights, could end up being in that NXT Open Championship tournament, something like that. Anybody can do it. Cruiserweights, heavyweights, middleweights, whatever. And then you have your new guy to be the face of NXT for the next year or so. But I think Shinsuke is going to get too big for there. I mean, he's too big for that. Samoa Joe, he's too experienced and too big for that. He's got a great personality. He needs to be somewhere else where he can really shine and not just be... Because I don't want them to go to Raw or SmackDown and just be reading scripts all the damn time. I'm tired of it. It looks stupid. I'd like to also see Bobby Roode on the main roster spot, the Revival on the main roster spot, and Asuka as well. Asuka and Mickie James, to be honest with you. Asuka's far superior than anybody, I think, on a main roster spot for the women, and Mickie James is she's a veteran. So, I mean, they're both veterans, Asuka and Mickie James. So, I think out of everybody that's wrestling Saturday or today, as I'm recording this on Saturday, Shinsuke, Samoa, Asuka, Mickie James, Bobby Roode, and the Revival. So 7 out of the 14 competitors will be gone by the next draft, and a couple of them I think will end up in the Royal Rumble. Definitely Joe, and maybe Shinsuke too. We're not really sure, but maybe. I think it would be kind of cool because I know Rusev was in the Royal Rumble before he came over for a main roster spot a few years back. But anyway, that's my take on NXT Takeover Toronto. I'm hoping it goes well. NXT usually puts on pretty good shows, so I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have some House of Pizza, or whatever it's called, Pizza House, off Harbor Boulevard and Adams in Costa Mesa. I'm going to get a large pepperoni because I had one the other day and it was delicious. And I'm going to get some soda from Dollar Tree. And I'm sure it'll be delicious, and it'll be $1. And I'm going to have a hell of a time. And I hope you all have a hell of a time enjoying NXT TakeOver Toronto. And check out my other show, the Survivor Series predictions. Yeah, I got those too. And I'm going to try to see who's going to get eliminated first and what's going to happen to their story after that. Peace out.